The young man wounded by gunshot in a discotheque on the island in the early hours of this morning is in stable condition. The medical report indicates that at the moment he's under neurosurgical and orthopedic observation.
Around 12:20 in the early hours of this morning, in a discotheque on the islands, an attempt was made on the life of a young man who was immediately transferred to the facilities of the hospital center, where thanks to the care received by the medical personnel on duty, he's stable and under observation.
This morning, at approximately 2:50 a.m., a male patient was admitted with a gunshot wound to the right cervical region. The patient is currently in the resuscitation room under continuous caution, in regular general condition with stable vital signs, presenting wound in the right cervical region, and his upper and lower limbs are affected. He is currently being managed by neurosurgery and orthopedic specialists.
The National Police is working to clarify the facts that could have ended the life of the citizen.
The National Police captured several citizens for different crimes, such as drug trafficking and illegal possession of firearms.
In the last hours, the National Police reported that a 4-year-old man was captured at the Gustavo Pinilla airport when he was trying to enter the island coming from the city of Bogota with 6 kilos of marijuana, which he had camouflaged inside his suitcase. On the other hand, police also report on the raid of 2 houses in the San Luis sector, where 3 people were captured. A 17-year-old young man was apprehended for the crimes of illegal possession of firearms and possession of narcotics. It should be noted inside of one of the houses, a revolver with 6 cartridges was found, and in another, a revolver with 4 cartridges and 139 grams of marijuana and mobile equipment.
And in recent days, an extraordinary session was held for the Departmental Committee of the Program of the Archipelago of San Andres, Providence, and Santa Catalina, where research projects submitted by educational institutions were presented and validated.
During the session, 61 research initiative projects were approved, involving more than 800 children and 60 teachers of the archipelago who will participate in the program. The projects submitted have a wide range of topics and concerns, from social issues and cultural rights to research projects on climate change and the development of technologies which contribute to the preservation of the natural environment of the archipelago's sea flower biosphere reserve.
Desde la Universidad Nacional Sede Caribe queremos informar.
From the National University, we want to inform that the Departmental Committee of ONDAS that met yesterday in extraordinary sessions decided to approve 61 projects that were submitted to the 2022 CAL. It is worth remembering that the Departmental Committee advises to promote in children and adolescents the interest in research and skills that allow young people to insert themselves in the public policy of technology and innovation.
The Departmental Committee of the Archipelago's ONDAS program is the advisory body of the departmental government to promote in children and young people interest in research and the development of attitudes and skills that allow them to be actively involved in a culture of science, technology, and innovation within the framework of the Departmental Public Policy on Science, Technology, and Innovation. This committee is the body that accompanies the execution process of the ONDAS 2022 CAL and is formed by National University of Colombia, Caribbean Headquarters, SENA, FOTEP, Coralina, Ministry of Science and Technology, and the Departmental Secretariat of Education.
And if you are a beneficiary of the Families in Action program, the national government has already started the cycle of payments corresponding to the program.
The departmental government informs that it started the 3rd cycle of payments of the Families in Action program, which corresponds to the verification period of February and March of 2022. This cycle will deliver the incentives to households with children under 6 years of age for health and to households with children and adolescents studying in schools with A and B academic calendar. For the archipelago, payment to account holders will be made through MOVI, and for unbanked beneficiaries, the payments will be made through Efecti. The Department of Social Prosperity has made available the methodology of selection by ID number to make the payments.
And through social networks, a citizen denounces and expresses his concern about the presence of animals on the entrance to the departmental hospital.
In a video circulating on social networks, a citizen shows his concern due to the presence of several heads of cattle at the entrance of the departmental hospital. The citizen was apparently transporting a patient to the hospital and he was surprised by the presence of the cattle at the main entrance. He also called on the hospital director and the owners of the animals to find a solution to avoid accidents in this area due to the presence of the cows. It is valid to note that the presence of these animals in the area is concurrent. In fact, several months ago, this news agency reported an accident involving these cattle in the same sector.
And for this week, increase in wind and swell is expected, so authorities asked to be cautious when sailing.
Strong winds and are forecast for this week for the archipelago of San Andres, Providence, and Santa Catalina. Therefore, maritime authorities recommend being attentive to official communications regarding the conditions that may occur, which could lead to restrictions on the departure of boats.
During the next 5 days, we expect that the interaction of the high-pressure center with the low-pressure center of Dario will continue to interact, which will continue to produce strong winds for the coastal area, around 14 and 16 knots of speed, and for the maritime area, around 20 to 22 knots of speed. This will generate a strong swell. It is recommended to take extreme measures during navigation. Day by day, we will make an analysis of the evolution of these conditions to make the respective reports and the various permits for maritime activities here in the archipelago.
Captain Castillo states which are the recommendations to be taken into account.
Seguir las recomendaciones.
Follow the recommendations that are issued through our Maritime Control Channel. Be attentive to the VHF channel, Channel 16. Any doubt or special situation, let us know in order to take the necessary measures.
It should be noted that the authorities will be analyzing the tide changes to determine whether it is necessary to have restrictions on the departure of vessels.
And now let's get to know other facts that today are making news in our brief news section.
The Environmental Corporation Coralina provided a training session to officials of Migration Colombia on Resolution number 283 of 2021, through which Law 1973 of 2009 is implemented, which regulates and prohibits the entry, marketing, and use of bags and other plastic materials in the Archipelago Department. The promoters of environmental education highlighted the importance of the applicability of this law for the ecosystem of the land. Next July 14th, the Archipelago Chamber of Commerce will hold a financing fair where entrepreneurs and the community in general will be able to learn about the offers offered by at least 8 banks on financing issues. The activity will be held from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the auditorium of the Cultural Center of the Bank of the Republic. The Department Financial Secretariat invites taxpayers to take advantage of the last month of tax relief of the year, in which a 5% discount will be applied to the payment of their taxes. 1. The Unified Property Tax. 2. Industry and Commerce. 3. Signs and Boards. 4. Vehicular. By means of Ordinance 001 of 2022, benefits are granted for the payment of delinquent interest, recovery of undue accounts, and penalties for untimely payment. The deadline for the application of tax relief is July 31st, 2022.